Hello, welcome to GeoAI tutorial number 18. In this video, I'm going to show you how to edit vector data interactively. In the last video, I showed you how to create vector data from scratch so that you can create data for training deep learning models. Sometimes you might want to utilize some existing data so you don't have to do everything from scratch. And so in this example, I'll show you how we can, for example, utilize the building footprint data from overtour maps that we downloaded, but it's not perfect. We're going to basically improve it. We're going to add some missing buildings. We're also going to create some buildings that are incorrect. So this is the demo. For example, these are all the buildings that from the overtour maps, and you can clearly see some of these are not perfect. It doesn't align very well with the building with Google base map, but you're welcome to use any other base map that you have. So it's very easy to use. You can just simply click and select any polygons that you want to create. So in this case, this one is not aligned with the building, so I can just drag and drop to the correct location. And also on the right here, you can change the attribute. So I can select, for example, this is an apartment, and the height may be, for example, 7.5 meter. If you already know the data, if you don't know, you can just skip it and then just click save. So similarly here, I can do this one. I can drag and drop and do the same thing. For example, this maybe is 6 meter. Click save, and that's it. You can also create some new data. For example, I can show you here, maybe this polygon here. I can just simply maybe create a polygon. For example, here, this. Okay, just like this. And then on the right here, you can also select the height. For example, this is 6 meter. Okay, click save. Once you're done, you can just click export, and then we export this one to your computer. Then you can just load this one to your program, or you can just use it to start create training data, just like what we did in the last couple of tutorials, showing you how to create this kind of a label, and then so you can train your own model. Okay, so let's get started. I'm going to show you how to do it from scratch. So in order to follow this tutorial, you need to go to the GeoAI website and then go to examples, scroll down to find edit vector. So once you're here, then you can either open this one to run this one in Google Colab. So make sure you install the latest version. This is a new feature that I just added earlier today. So you need to have this latest version, or you can download this one on your computer and then run it if you have in Jupyter Lab set up on a computer. So I have set it up. I'm going to show you using my Jupyter Lab. So the first step is to import the library. Very simple. Just import GeoAI, and then we need to create a map so that we can load the vector data. So we're going to use the map library mapping backend. So this one builds on top of leaf maps, but it's using the map library. And we're also going to add the base map. So the base map, you can use any base map available through the XYZ services. It can be Google satellite base map, or you can any other available base map that you want to use. You can also just add a raster locally or from the cloud, or any cloud optimized geotip. It should work as well. And then you can specify the vector data you want to utilize. So in this case, I'm using a data set that I hosted on Hugging Face, but this one can be any file on the internet or is something locally, as long as GeoPandas can read it. It's also supported. Then you can specify the default parameters that is going to show up on the upper right corner when you try to edit the attribute. And so we're going to just specify, for example, a class attribute. And if you provide a list of attributes, you're going to have a drop down list so you can easily select the attribute that you want to assign to the new features. And you can also specify other columns. So right now, basically just 2 columns. And the height is 0.0, means it's floating point. So the default value is going to basically, the data type is going to depend on the default value you specify. If this is a list, this is just a string. So it's going to be string data type. If this floating point, then it's going to be floating point, or it can be also integer. So let's run this one, and then all we need to is call this function, add vector data, passing the map. So basically the base map that we already created, and also the file name. So this is the second one, basically just the file name. So it can be HTTP URL or it can be a local file path. And you can also specify the properties. It's up to you. If you don't know what properties you're going to use, you can just set to none. Then it's just going to give all the attributes. I will show you later, but for now, just for simplification, I just want 2 attributes. All right, and then we can add the layer control and then display the widget. So, oops, I think I forgot to execute this one. So let me do one more time. All right, so this is it. So after you load the data, it's going to automatically zoom to the area of interest. So basically the vector data that you have, in this case, this is just the building polygons covering an area in Washington state. And on the right here, shows you the 2 attribute, basically the 2 default one that we have in here. And because you're providing a list, by default, this is just going to be a drop-down list. So you can see here we have this drop-down list. Also the height, basically this is just a number, and you can increase 1 or 2, something like this. You can also set any values that you like. All right. So now let's start the editing. By the way, so this is we're using a Google base map, but you can use any other base map. You can turn it off and you can zoom in. So the base map layer is using the Kato dark matter. So you will see here some of the polygons does not align very well, and some of those basically are missing. So if you turn this one off, oops, right now you can see clearly, right? So these are all the buildings that are not captured in the Overture maps. So this is what I downloaded from Overture maps, and there are also some buildings that's like the alignment is not great. So this is what you can do very easily. Just click anywhere you like, and then if you just need to shift it, that's fine. You can just do it like this. And if you're not changing the attribute, you don't have to click the button here on the right. You can just move those to whatever locations. So for example, I can just shift this one. All right, so assume these are done, and then there might be some polygons that the shape is not great. For example, in this case, we have this one. It doesn't look great. You can shift it, and also you can just drag and drop. So if you click one more time on the map, so here, if you click this polygon, you see the point becomes larger. Then you can start dragging the point to the location that you want. So for example, here to this way, and then maybe somewhere here. All right. And also on the right here, once you click this one, you will see on the right, it doesn't show you any attribute. That means it doesn't know. So basically the attribute is none when we download it from Overture. So if you already know the information, you can certainly select something from here. For example, okay, this is an apartment, and then the height may be 6 meter or 6.5, something like that. You just type and then just click save. It will show you it has been saved. And this is it. And you can continue to do more digitization. For example, I can go up to the top here. I know some of the buildings are basically missing. So in this case, I can just do the digitization. Click the button here on the right, and then just come here, select the buildings that you want. You might need to be careful about some of the shadows. So I can just something here like this. And okay, so once you finish the digitization, again on the right here, by default is the apartments, and then the height, for example, this is 5 meter, and then just click save. So in this way, it's saved. Keep it in mind when you click on any attribute, any polygons, right? So for example, here for this one, I'm gonna change the shape. I move the shape so that it aligns better, and then select apartment and select maybe 6 meter, save. If you go back to click this one again, you will show you the attribute, right? So whatever have you changed, it will be saved to the memory. Then if you click it again, it's going to show other attributes. So this is super easy, very intuitive. I can do one more time here. For example, this one here. Okay, just rectangle, and you can choose any other attribute associated. For example, this can be a house, and then the height may be 7 meter. Click save. Once you're done with all the editing, and assume that you have continue to do the digitization, you have finished all of those, then you can just export the data. So let's just take a quick look, see if it aligns how well do they align with the base map. I mean, most of them looks pretty good. There are only some small portion of the buildings that do not align very well. And of course, there are a lot of missing buildings. You can continue to digitize. So let's do a final one here. And oops, click again. Some might be a little bit more complicated, so you need to draw it carefully. Okay, and maybe this one is a little bit too big, so let me drag it a little bit. All right, so great, and maybe somewhere here. On the right here, select the attribute. So for example, this is a house. The height is 6 meter. Click save. Okay, once you're done with everything, then you can start exporting the data. So I can just click this export. And on the right here, you should be able to see the file path that it has been exported. By default, it's going to use the date and time. So this will be the date, and then separated by t. Then you have a time.geojson, but you can also specify other vector data format. So if you press shift tag on the function definition, you can specify, for example, the file ext. And also you can give a prefix. So sometimes if you want to like do that for multiple files, you want to separate them, you can get a prefix on the file name. And then also the file extension. I actually also support like street view imagery from Meta, the map library, but I don't show it here, but you can try it out if you want to. So, but this will be just the default one. And once you have that, you can actually create a map and then load the data back into the function. So here I can show you, for example, m2 equal to, let me zoom in here, equal to GeoAI.matLibre, okay? And then m2.add, okay, GeoJSON. So for this one here, you can pass in the file name, for example, the file name that I have from here. So it will be just, I think, directly under the file. So it'll be just the name, this. Okay, paste, and then just display m2. You should really see the updated data that we have. So now, if you take a look, it has been corrected. I don't know why. Okay, so the overture. So right now, the dataset OpenStreetMap, so it doesn't align with the building. But if you add the base map, so for example, just do the same thing, just like what we did above here. Let me add the satellite base map so you can see if they align or not. Okay, M2, and then run this one. So take a look now, this has been corrected. Okay, so this is the one that we just, the new output data that we created, and also some of the missing polygons that we have added. So clearly it has been corrected, and that means the function works. And then the other building that we edited it, for example, some of the building here, initially was incorrect, doesn't align with the shape. Now we have corrected it. And all the attributes actually are still, this one, okay, 6.5, for example, the one that we just edited. Okay, and that's it. So one last time I want to show you, if you have some vector data, but you don't know like what kind of attribute it has, you don't necessarily have to specify the property. So I can just create a map and then add a base map pointing to the data. If you don't know the properties, that's fine. And you can just come here and then just specify this one as none, or you can just remove it entirely. Okay, and then just run it. You automatically actually create all the attributes. So as you can see, this one actually, the overture maps has a lot of attributes. And you can take a look at on the right here, some of these attributes. So we're only using the height and also the class, but there are other attributes. If you hover your mouse and then try to click, for example, right now, if you go back to this file, the polygon here is not, doesn't align, because this is original data. If you click it, on the right here, it should show you all these attributes, and some of the attribute might not, might be very complicated. It might be some nasty data, so you need to be careful. Also, there might be some additional data type, not just string numbers. It can be Boolean data type as well. But the program will be able to figure that out automatically. And not all the buildings have high information, but some of them do have. So if you click this one, it's going to show you, for example, the height is 3.6 meter. And you click some others, but not all of them have the height information. So if you click, and this allows you to create the data. So if you already know the type, for example, here, this one, I look at this, I know this one is apartment. You can just select that and then just click save. You will save the basically create the information. Similarly, like apartments, click save, and then you'll be saved. Once you're done, again, just click export. Then the file will be outputted to your current working directory. And then you can, just like what I did earlier here, you can load this one to the map. And then, so in that way, you have the updated geometry, you have the updated attribute, and you can use this way to digitize some locations. It may maybe take you half an hour to digitize some of these buildings. And with this, now you can pass this one to create training data, basically creating the image chips, the imagery, and also the label, corresponding labels, and then you can pass into the model to do deep learning. Again, if you want to learn more, check out my previous tutorial. Okay, so that's all of this tutorial. I hope you find it useful. I will see you in the next one.